Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Elizabeth Gessel, and I'm the Director of Public Programs at Museum of the African Diaspora in San Francisco. MoAD is a contemporary art museum, and our exhibitions and programming inspire learning through the global lens of the African diaspora. As we begin all of our programs, we like to ground ourselves in the spaces we are occupying. As many of us are settlers, immigrants, or descendants of those forcibly brought to this continent, our institutions were founded upon the exclusions and erasures of the indigenous peoples on whose land we are located. MoAD occupies the unceded land of the Ramaytush Ohlone peoples, and we pay our respects to the Ohlone peoples and their elders, both past and present, who have stewarded this land throughout the generations. We encourage everyone to learn more about the native lands you occupy by visiting native-land.ca. I welcome you to our program series, African Diaspora Film Club, presented in partnership with Black Public Media. The series features Cornelius Moore, who is a longtime director at California Newsreel, the 54-year-old social issue nonprofit film distribution and production company. He is also an independent film curator specializing in works from and about the Black world. Modeled after a book club, we expect that you will have already viewed the film when you join us for this discussion. If you haven't already seen the film, please stick around. We just can't guarantee we won't have any spoilers. Today, we're very excited to be discussing the documentary Queen Kidjo with director Claire Duguet. We'll start the discussion moderated by Cornelius, and we encourage everyone to participate by making comments and submitting questions through the chat or the Q&A box. And please take a moment to type in where you're joining us from the chat. Now I will introduce our director, Claire Duguet. She was born in 1977. She studied cinema at Louis Lumière School in Paris. She worked for several years with Agnes Varda from 2001 to 2019 and traveled all around the world alongside Titouan Lamazou to film women's portraits from 2003 to 2006. She directed about 25 TV documentaries and 3 short feature movies. Since 2019, she has been directing Felicité Production to produce short feature movies. So please join me in welcoming Cornelius Moore and Claire Duguet.
Thank you, Elizabeth, and welcome, Claire.
Thank you for
being with
having
us
me
today.
Yeah, thank you very much.
And thank you for making this wonderful film on such a wonderful subject, Angelique Kidjo. I'm a big fan, so I'll just say that in the beginning.
We are many big fans, I think, of Angelique Kidjo, so that's great.
So I'll just begin by saying, how did this whole project start? And what inspired you to, besides being a fan, what was the thing that inspired the making of the film? How did you make the connection with Angelique Kidjo?
14 years ago, I planned to make a movie about Miriam Makeba, another huge African singer. And Miriam died in 2008. And 1 year later, in Paris was organized a tribute concert for Miriam Makeba. It was in a concert room, which looks like very much like a circus room. So I bought a ticket and I went there. And this evening, a little woman appears on the stage in the center of the circus, and she started to sing. I think it was Malaika, and I was just like, "Wow, who is she?" I didn't know her at that time. I'm so ashamed now, and it blows my mind. All the songs she sang, I couldn't imagine that someone could sing Miriam Makeba songs like that. So I was very impressed, and I came back and I Googled Angelique Kidjo, and I discovered the artist, and I didn't know her. Yeah. And so I started to understand who she was, what she was doing, the music, but also the person like an advocate for women's rights in Africa, for African music. So I called my producer, Catherine Rowe, and I told her, wow, it would be wonderful to make a documentary about Angelique Kidjo. Let's forget about Miriam Makeba. I want to make a documentary about Angelique Kidjo. And it happened that she knew Angelique Kidjo. And she told me, I think it's not going to be okay with French TV because she's not enough famous. Yeah, we were quite surprised. And she was right. She was right. You have to understand that Angelique Kidjo has not the how to say that. She's not famous enough in France. That's a problem with French. They don't really know Angelique Kidjo. And 10 years later, I watched on the TV Angelique Kidjo thinking for the 100th anniversary of armistice of the World War I in front of all the presidents of the world. And I was just like, oh my God, Angelique Kidjo, she is on TV, invited by French government. What is happening? So I called back my producer and I said, look, Angelique Kidjo is on TV for such a big event. And she said, maybe that's the time to call back the French TV. and that's, I think it's because she was invited to perform at this huge historical event that we were able to make the movie. And I met her, I met her some months later. We have a dinner together because we wanted to see if we were going along with each other, Angelique and I. And we discuss not really her music, but we discuss in more generally about the huge, the bigger picture of African history. And she realized that I was interested in that history too. So that was it. We checked the hand and it was, okay, let's do the movie now. That's it. So it took 10 years.
It took 10 years. I was going to ask, that was a big question. But I
Yeah.
want to go back to, I'm shocked when you said that
How did you, sorry?
that I'm shocked that you got the reaction that the French TV would not consider her famous enough, because what is because the recording label that she's on is not French, or as opposed to Island Records, which I thought was international. And
yeah, but you know, in I don't know when she left. I think it was 1988. So she made a career because of Chris Blackwell. She didn't get music producer in France. So all her career was produced by Chris Blackwell, not a French producer. She was not that much known in France. I mean, she was very well known by African people in France, but not by white people in France, to be clear. Okay.
No, this is very important, because I mean, I assume that the music business is international, and Island Records would be in Fnac and would, all the stores and everything, and she would have performed in Paris, but you're correcting my vision.
She did perform, but she was not that much known in France. And she started at the world music period,
yes,
but she didn't make world music because she mixed electric music with traditional. And world music in France, it was more like traditional instrument, acoustic. It was not electric. So she was part of it, but she was already beyond it. She was a step, she was in advance. Mm-hmm. So that's it. It was not, it didn't fit in what France was listening of African music at this time. She was in advance. Mm-hmm. So she did, she has been understood by Chris Blackwell, not by the French. And she started her career abroad. So that's good.
Okay. Well, I mean, you put your finger on and identify what is one of the things that's special about her is that she's very adventurous and very innovative. And she even talks about in her book, which I recommend everybody to read, called Spirit Rising, My Life, My Music, she talks about how she didn't, you know, did not want to be traditional. That she was influenced by so many things, which you show in your film about incorporating other musics into her repertoire.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think that's very important. That she, I mean, I'm going to read something she said in her. She said, "I would never abandon my African rhythms, but I also didn't want to be representing the past, singing tribal music and wearing a bubu," although she does wear bubu. "I thought if Paul Simon and Peter Gabriel were using African elements in their music, why couldn't I use Western elements in mine?"
Yeah.
So question about, you said it took you 10 years to make the film, you said?
Yeah, between the first time I hear her and the production, yeah, about 10 years. Yeah.
As we see in the film, go ahead, Tom, continue, go ahead.
Sorry, please.
No, I was going to say, as we see in the film, Angelique, she's very energetic and she's running around all over the place. So my question for you as a filmmaker, how is it possible for you to maintain and keep up with her activity?
Yes, she's a woman with a lot of energy. She's 60 years old, but it was quite difficult for me to follow because I did film most of the footage with a camera. I was filming myself and I couldn't follow. She was always there and I was there and I was never ready. So it has been quite an adventure to manage to follow her, but it was always so joyful and so generous. It was really great. I don't know if I answered your question.
Yes, you did. I also wanted to follow up with, you had a vision for the film, perhaps she had a vision for the film. What was your discussion like about what you both wanted to accomplish with this film?
I think I don't know if she had a vision. I know that once we met and she trusted me, she was like, you do whatever you want. She never, no, she never interfered or she knew when I was filming her, so I presume she knew that it will be in the movie maybe, but no, she never said that she wanted something. But what I know is when I finished the movie, I sent it to her, a link to watch it before the post-production to make sure that she was okay with everything. And it took 48 hours to answer. So I was just like, oh my God, she didn't like it. She didn't like it. Oh my God, oh my God. And then she called me and she said, she loved it. And she said, you made me cry with your movie. And that was it. She was very happy. She was very happy because one thing important for her and for me, it was to make a photo of her big brother who died. There was her parents. She was very, very, she's very close to her family. So there was her dad who had died at this time and her mother. And then after the movie, her mother died. So it was all the stuff. And there was her daughter, and sometimes you can see her husband. And yeah, I think it was important for her to have everyone of her family in the movie. So I think that's one thing that she liked about it.
Yes, we hear from her daughter. She's interviewed. I'm curious. Her husband is not interviewed, right? Or did he not want to be interviewed? Or
no, her husband didn't want to appear in the movie. So if you know him, you know that he's someplace in the movie, but no, he is very in the shadow. For him, it's he doesn't want to be in the light. So, but he was always there for me, and he's always there for Angelique. They are like a duet, very strong couple, working together every day. So
well, in her memoir, she says at one point that he they performed together for many years. At one point,
Yeah,
he didn't want to. He wanted to stop performing, even though
yeah,
they write together and have ideas. But he just said, "No, I want to be involved in more of the
of the stage, of the concert, of the performance.
yeah."
I think it's when their daughter was born, he decided he will be the one staying at home while Angelique will carry on her career. That's why he stopped performing with her. He did the choice to be the father of the to be at home for that child. Yeah, which is quite modern.
Yes, very much. Yeah, very modern. Yes. And there are also you have all these interviews with people who, Ziggy Marley and Isildur, Alicia Keys, Yo-Yo Ma, Peter Gabriel, and Yemi Alade. So, and sometimes when people are making films, it's such an adventure or chore to get other people to be interviewed who are also busy themselves. So what was that experience like for you, getting them to be interviewed for the film?
First of all, the people I reached to be interviewed, as soon as I understand it was a movie about Angelique, they said, okay, I want to be part of it. So it shows how much is important for all these people that accept to be in the movie. But as I told you earlier, I started to shoot the movie. It was February 2020. And she had a concert in March, program at the Carnegie Hall, a huge concert with a lot of artists from Africa and from the States. It was supposed to be a huge party for our 60th birthday and the 60th anniversary of the independence. And unfortunately, as everyone knows, there was a pandemic, so everything has been cancelled. So some people I didn't have interviewed before the pandemic, they accepted to make some video from home, especially for her birthday. Or like Peter Gabriel, he was nice enough to answer my question. I sent him an email with all the questions, and he sent me back a video with the answer. So it was not an easy way to make the movie, but everybody wanted to say something about to be there, to cheer Angelique and to acknowledge her career and the woman she is. So it was really great. It's not always the case for movie to have people so ready to be in the movie.
When I was noticing and when watching the film, I didn't really feel that COVID was that it was COVID, or you had to do this film during COVID because people were wearing masks, there were people, scenes of people at concerts, and so I'm just acknowledging that there was that feeling about a pandemic happening while you were making the film.
Yeah, because it was very important for me not to date the movie in that period, because it was not a fun period for anyone in the world. And Angelique is so much than that. She's she gives us energy, she gives us hope, she gives us joy. And it was impossible to have the COVID inside the movie, but we did it during the COVID. So, but it was very important not to associate this woman with this period for me, and I think it's better like that.
And but you also, one of the things that Angelique Kidjo talks about is the connection with the continent of Africa and Benin and her where she was born, but also the African diaspora and African culture in general. And you have all these of her albums where she acknowledges and also incorporates in a very respectful way, musicians and music of the African diaspora from Brazil, as well as Cuba with Celia Cruz, you mentioned that, and the Caribbean as well, and Black Americans as well. So that's her mission. But for you, as a filmmaker, you had to. I would like to hear you talk about getting all the footage from all those different places, from Brazil and from and the Caribbean, etc. What was that like for you?
Who was that? Sorry, it's the end of the question.
What was that like for you? To get all that footage from those different places.
I use some archives, a lot of archives, yes, to tell the story, because it was an important story. It's such an important mission for her to talk about the roots and the diaspora of the African music. So yes, that's it. I wanted that to be told in the movie, and so I used some footage. She had this huge hard disk with the 10 gigabytes of files. No one was named, and so I spent some hours opening all the files, and it was quite funny because for the Miriam Makeba files, when she is on the stage with Miriam Makeba, it was not named Miriam Makeba, and it was even not in a file named something. It was just file 1, and I opened it, file, and I found a little file like move 22, and I opened it and I called her and I said, I found it. It was in the hard disk. I found it. So I have to search deep in this all this archive to make this sequences possible. So I don't know if I answer your question again.
You did. It's interesting that your connection with the project.
Can I ask you, Cornelius? You have there is a echo.
Echo.
Yeah, echo. Maybe.
Is this better?
No, I don't know. Oh, it's okay. That's why I can't. Sometimes I'm not sure of the answer the question, but it's okay. It's okay.
Is it better now?
No, it's still the echo, but it's okay.
I didn't do anything differently. Oh.
Maybe you have your the sound of the computer. Maybe because no. Okay. Sorry.
Is it now the same thing? The echo still?
Yeah, but it's okay.
I don't know. I didn't do anything different.
But I can understand you.
You can understand. Yeah, Elizabeth was saying there was a problem. She heard that too. I don't know. Oh, yeah, that's fine. Anyway, from my computer. Your introduction to Angelique Kidjo with Miriam Makeba, there was for many years, Miriam Makeba was called Mama Africa, and there was a DJ who would call her the Princess Africa, Miriam Makeba being the queen and Angelique Kidjo being the princess. So, and I guess now that Miriam Makeba is on, that Angelique Kidjo is, I don't know if she wants to be a mama, but she
is a mama. She is a mama Africa. Yeah. I think for African countries, she is definitely the mama Africa. For all the new generation, she is, how to say that? For all the new generation of African artists like Yemi Alade, Burna Boy, many of them, she is their Mama Africa. She is a new Mama Africa for them. She has the same role that Miriam Makeba had for her. She is a Mama Africa.
And she's a mentor to other.
Yeah, she's a mentor. Yeah.
Upcoming artists. We also lost Harry Belafonte recently, and so you have footage of him, his birthday celebration.
Yeah.
So wasn't that before you started your film?
The birthday celebration at the tower.
Oh, Harry Belafonte.
No, it was just after the pandemic. There was this concert, and yeah, it was I don't know. Can you repeat the question, please?
No. I'm just saying. I thought that was before the pandemic, and before you start. Oh no, after the pandemic and before you started your film. So I'm just looking at the timeline of that celebration and your.
No, it was I was shooting the National Day, the concert with her, but when she went back from stage, I am the one who said, because I was filming and nothing happened, so I just shout, "Happy birthday, Angelique Kidjo!" And everyone realized it was her birthday, and they started to think happy birthday, and the opera singer danced with her, and that was it. It's like, you know, when you film documentary, you provoke some stuff. In this case, I provoked the scene by just yelling, "Happy birthday, Angelique Kidjo," and everyone started singing happy birthday. That's it.
No, I was asking about the Harry Belafonte.
How?
Wasn't there a celebration for his birthday in your film?
No, it was a national day in France. How to say that? Before the pandemic was planned in France a month of celebration of Africa continent. So the French government, they asked Angelique Kidjo to be the godmother. But with the pandemic, everything was cancelled again, except the concert for the National Day on TV was programmed, and that's the only thing that stayed of this big event. So that's the only thing I could film with her. But it happens that she's born on the same day as the National Day in France. That's why it was a concert, but it was also her birthday. That's all. It was the same day.
I was asking about Harry Belafonte. Harry Belafonte.
Ah, yeah, Harry Belafonte, yeah.
Yes, there was a celebration for him.
Yeah.
His birthday that she was part of.
Yeah, she was invited to perform, and she knew him very well. So it was very moving to be invited to that birthday. It was very nice. It was a great moment. How to say that? He was already very old, so he won't have answer my question. But I just follow her, and I just film this moment of their very close friend. I think we can feel all the love and the how to say that, the passing of the stick, like yeah. I think he told her they still work, and be careful of the pitfalls.
Yeah, the pitfall. I thought that was a very important statement to say. Yes, thank you for doing this, but be careful of what you're doing. So
yeah,
he certainly knows.
Oh yes.
Cornelius, I think we should take a short break, and you should leave the Zoom and then come back and see if your volume works better.
Okay.
Your audio works better.
Sorry about that.
No problem. No problem. We'll just take a short break.
Oh, you can.
Sorry. I can hear you fine. I'm wondering if were there people that you wanted to interview that you weren't able to include in the film?
Yeah, I would have loved to interview Alicia Keys, definitely. She was okay because she was supposed to come for the concert at the Carnegie Hall, but as I said earlier, because of the pandemic, it was not possible. But I have been in relation with her people around very close to make it happen, but it didn't at the end. Who else? I don't know. Yeah, Philip Glass. I would have loved to have Philip Glass, but again, he was very tired. It was very difficult make it happen because of the pandemic, and even after, because we were contagious. I don't know, everyone was afraid, and with older people, you don't want to go to film them and to make them ill. So we didn't do it, but he would have done it. I think Philip Glass, definitely. It's
Okay, Cornelius, try again.
So how is this now?
Better.
Okay.
better. Oh my God, much better.
Okay.
And I can say something about Philip Glass if you want.
Okay.
It's not in the movie, but the first time Angelique came to New York to introduce herself as a singer, their publicist planned a showcase, and she said, yes, but I am alone, I don't have a musician. And the agent say, okay, I might know someone who can play piano, and I can ask him if he is available to play piano for you, and you, okay. And it was Philip Glass. That's what they met. The first time she made a showcase in New York, she didn't have a pianist, and it was Philip Glass who came to play piano for her. So that's amazing, don't you think?
I think so too. Yes, all these people, you know, I mean, all these connections with all these other musicians.
Yeah, and she was at a kind of huge music international rassemblement, I don't know, meeting, and a director of an opera theater from Europe, I think Netherlands, come to her and said, wow, you have such a voice. You could sing opera or classical. And he was the first to say, oh my God, it would be so great if Philip Glass could write something for you. And she answered, I know him. He's one of my friends. And the opera director couldn't believe it. And it was in New York. And she said, yes, I can call him. We can have a tea tomorrow at his place. And so the meeting was there. And this house, they knew each other, but they have never known about doing something together. And it was thanks to this opera directors that they made the Symphony 12 and Ife. I don't remember the name of the concert.
I think it was something that was done here in Berkeley. I'm not exactly sure, because she was an artist in residence at, in Berkeley.
Yeah, maybe. But it's
Did Elizabeth ask you the question about Umu Sangare?
No.
Oh, because one of the people on watching and participating asked, did you try to get a comment from Umu Sangare, the Malian singer?
No, sorry, I didn't.
Okay. And someone also asked about John Legend. He's in the film, but did you?
Yeah, but yeah, because they performed together. No, I didn't ask John Legend. Okay. But she performed with so many people, you know. I mean,
that would be the whole film, would be all the people talking about her, and all the people performed.
I used some footage, like archive, to make them enter into the movie, but no, I didn't ask him. I didn't.
So, someone else asked, how did you manage a 1 hour length for your film? How did you figure out which topics to focus on? You keep the storyline moving within the time frame.
I don't know. When the concert, I should have filmed for the movie, and all the rehearsal were cancelled. I just said, oh, it's okay, let's do a biopic. It looks much more like a biopic. And one thing important for me was to, during that movie, was to make flashback about the bigger African history, Black people history. It was very important, and I did it from some music, or from her life, or from her fight, and everything like that. So, so that's it. That's what's a topic I wanted in the movie. I didn't want to make an historical documentary. That's not that, but I wanted all this part of her, all this history that we can understand through her too, to be in the movie.
But
And
you're referring to her going into exile from Benin to France, right?
yeah,
That's
yeah,
part of that's an important part of her life and a
yeah,
significant part in your film.
yeah, yeah. It's a very important part of her life. Yeah, and how to say that? Yeah, because I have to understand where does it come from, her rhythm, her talent, everything. So we have to start with everything that started in her family in Benin. Yeah, and one thing very important for me is she was able to leave Benin to go to France, because at that time, people from Benin didn't need a visa. And now imagine Angelique Kidjo, 20 years old, she couldn't come. She couldn't come to France because she would have, she will need a visa and maybe she wouldn't get it. So, you know, it's always her biopic and the politic history and everything is mixed, and with the music, everything is, yeah, I think is linked in this film.
Well, that's important about to bring the issue up of immigration and migration
Yeah,
and the restrictions on coming for people coming from the global South to Europe or from the United States, the restrictions that that exist. I mean,
yeah,
in the United States, they've always been this restriction,
yeah,
but in Europe, maybe not as much. So
yeah,
it's helpful for people to understand that.
yeah, yeah, it's important, I think.
But also the question about it, and did you always
And
have it to be out?
just excuse me, just to finish with that part.
Yeah, oh, sure.
She couldn't make her mom come to France. She didn't manage to make her mom come to France. It's a mystery for me. It's France, but well, that I just wanted to add that.
So after she came to France, and she had a visa, but she didn't need a visa, but her mother needed one. I mean,
No, at the end of her life, she didn't manage to have her mother to stay in France. At the end of her mother's life, I mean, the past few years, she would have loved to have her mother in France, but it was not possible to have a residence permit in France. Sorry, I'm describing France like the worst country right now.
But it's, I mean, the context, I mean, we know if people who are watching the news understand,
Yeah,
well, the migration and
yeah,
immigration, the restrictions, I mean, because it's, well, it should be in the news more than it is about the people who come via more very dangerous ways and often lose their lives. So that it's an important thing that you're talking about.
yeah, and France has not how to say that. There is a lot to do still about slavery and about colony and many stuff. You know, the history between France and Africa continent it's difficult, and it's not really peaceful. It's still something. Yeah,
No, I think we understand, but thank you for that.
Yeah.
The question someone asked about the hour-long film, in the US, oftentimes, if you're getting money from a broadcaster, there are length restrictions. So did you have to make the film an hour-long film?
Yeah, no, in France, normally it's 52 minutes. But at the end, you have a shorter movie than the one who was broadcasted in France. At the end, it was 62. And I have to shorter it for America to, I don't know, 55, I don't remember. So I have to cut some stuff from the original.
Oh.
For the US.
Anything
but I cut a French song.
Okay. That you anticipated what I was going to ask you. Yes.
I cut some stuff that was more linked to France that maybe won't have interested American people.
Okay. Well, I mentioned this to you before. One of the things that was stood out for me in the film was the clip from Angelique Kidjo singing at the 100th anniversary of the end of the World War I, and she's singing Bella Bello, the Togolese film singer's song Belu,
Playwood.
Belu,
Yeah.
which my understanding that it's a song about people who have died, and that their spirits are being welcomed, their ancestors are being welcomed to the next world. So I was amazed that she was singing this song in front of Donald Trump, Benjamin Netanyahu, Macron also. I mean, people who I would think, well, would they really appreciate who Angelique Kidjo was, the significance of the song, etc. So please say more about that, the song, and what the significance of you putting it in the film.
Yeah. First, the song Bella Bello was one of the artists who opened the road for Angelique. She was young and she has always loved this song. And Bella Bello has died, unfortunately, very young in a car accident. So even on her first album, Angelique, she wrote a song named Bella Bello that you have heard in the movie when she's at her parents' very young. So yeah, I was quite amazed because first it was a huge event with all these people you named. It was organized by France. It was about World War I, where African people came in Europe and in France to fight against Germany. So it was something, I mean, it was a huge step, I think, for the French government to make it happen. But what I have been told, it was not confirmed, but what I have been told is that the diplomacy, the French diplomacy, knew that Donald Trump didn't like Angelique Kidjo because she was one of the first to sing at the Women's March the day of his investiture.
Inauguration. Yes.
Inauguration, yeah. So he was not a big fan of her, of course. She has always speak out how much she didn't like Donald Trump, so that's it. And at that time, I think what I've been told is they were looking for an artist who could piss off Trump. So they think, oh my God, Angelique Kidjo is perfect. But which is very interesting is doing that, they allow her to sing a song that reminds everyone in France that African people has come to fight for our freedom, which is what we have to remain about this concert, I think. So it was a double game. They were happy to make Trump uncomfortable. And the other end, there were acknowledging, the tribute to African soldier. So it was very interesting, I think. It was an historical moment, I think, in France. But it was absolutely not expected to have Angelique Kidjo singing for that event. I mean, it was very surprising for French people, I think. That's it. But it was not confirmed that it was first to make Donald Trump uncomfortable. And as you can see on this footage, he's very not comfortable with what is going on. I think you can read it on his face. He's not happy.
Yes. I wasn't sure if it was that that he knew who she was. I just assumed he knew who she was. Okay.
Yeah, he knew who she was. Yeah.
Okay.
That's diplomacy. I don't know. That's politic. But that's it.
Question. I think someone else.
I'm not sure. Yeah, I can read the question.
Oh, you can. Yeah. The question was where You understood the significance
Yeah,
of the song.
I don't know, but you know, the image of this black woman arriving with a traditional dress, alone, almost a cappella, with just Dominic the guitarist. I mean, they didn't need to understand the lyric. I think they understood that it was something important, and it's even if you don't understand the lyric, you can feel you can feel it's a big moment, it's important, and she's singing something meaningful about African people. I think you don't need to understand the global event, the global way it was done. It's strong enough. So I think, yeah.
There is a question which I didn't see. Thank you, Elizabeth. That someone asked, Carla asked, what is one thing people don't understand or know about Angelique Kidjo that you think you should share?
Something that people don't understand about Angelique Kidjo that I understand.
Or know about Angelique Kidjo.
Oh my God. I don't know.
Or you could think a little bit more, and and I can ask you another question, but
I don't know. What did I understand that people didn't know about her?
yeah, what is one thing people don't understand?
Don't understand about her.
What do you think people do not understand or know about Angelique Kidjo?
I don't know.
Well, her life is pretty public. I mean, she does all these very many activities. She has a school, activities for girls in Africa.
I don't know. In the United States, do they believe that she's French too, or they believe that she's Benin?
Was? That's a good question. I don't think people think about that. I mean, people in the United States often don't know about the world, about geography, or so I would think that people would think that she's from Benin, that she's not French. I think people don't understand French.
Yeah.
People being from the former colonies or being in France, that they're not.
Yeah.
They probably don't think that she's.
Yeah. So maybe that's one thing that you didn't know in America about Angelique, that she's also French. So I don't know. But yeah.
Well, there's one scene in the film where she's walking down the street and she has sunglasses on, and two women greet her, who are they greet her in French, and I don't know if they were from the African continent or not. I was surprised that they recognized her.
Oh yes, in New York, you mean?
Yes, in New York.
Yeah. It was two women from French language African country. Yes, I recognize her. It was amazing. Yeah, it was just like that. We were walking down the street in Harlem, and just hey, Angelique, it's you, and that's it.
Yeah, but Angelique Kidjo also says that people don't think that I live here in New York. I think that's something that people don't know, that she probably lives in New York. Yeah,
she's living half year. I mean, she's sharing her life close to Paris and in Brooklyn. She has two homes. So she spent time in Europe, close to Paris, and she spent time in Brooklyn for the United States. Yeah.
And there's another question. I think you already answered about how hard it was to keep up with Angelique, because I think you talked about that. Yeah, it's quite difficult to follow her. Yeah. She's full of energy, really. I think that's you have to live with her to understand that she's she's full of energy, and sometimes it can be difficult. I mean, she's sometimes too much of energy for people like me. It was a bit too much sometimes, but it's always so great to be with her. But she has a lot of energy. Yeah. So outside of here and with Black Public Media and their Afropop program, where has the film been exhibited? Where has it been broadcast?
It has been broadcast, I think, with in France for sure.
Outside of the United States, yes.
No, it's broadcast with TV5 worldwide. So I know that it will be on air on TV5 in June soon, the 12th of June, I think. Let me check. New York time, I think. I send the date to Angelique, so I just check my, yeah. It will be on TV5 World USA, the 21st of June at 3 o'clock in New York time. Yeah, for instance. So with TV5, it has been broadcast in Africa, it has been broadcast everywhere, but on this special channel. Yeah.
And what has been the reception that you've, what have people said about the film?
I don't know. I don't have the feedback. I don't know. No. But what I can say is all the people I know that I've seen the movies, they were quite amazed because most of them didn't know Angelique Kidjo. And they didn't know her amazing path, you know, her career. So it was they discovered her, definitely. Yeah.
That's very interesting. Because I was when you said it was made, you got support from French sources. I was assuming it was TV5 is throughout the world, but is it also particularly their particular schedule in France? Because I would like to, I'm curious if it was written about, if it was reviewed in French.
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know.
Oh.
I don't know.
Okay. So I do want to remind people that Angelique Kidjo will be performing at Stern Grove Festival in San Francisco on July 16th. And this is for people in the San Francisco Bay Area. And I've also been told that things have changed, that it's a free concert, but now people have to register in advance, a month in advance. So on June 16th, then people have to, if they want to come in, they need to register. I mean, Claire, if you're ever in San Francisco, you should. It's a wonderful outside place.
I would love. I think everyone has to see once in her life Angelique performing on stage. It's something amazing. She's a performer. She's amazing with the public. She gives all this energy. My God, she's 63 now, and she can dance like nobody else. She's amazing. She's amazing. Go to the concert, please. You won't regret it. It's worth it a lot.
Oh, definitely. And someone from Black Public Media asked, what did you learn about yourself as a filmmaker through making the film?
Oh my God. Oh, that's difficult.
We're Americans, we ask those kind of questions.
Yeah. What did I learn about me? I don't know, but for me, what is important in that movie that didn't happen with other movie is that when I do a movie, I spend some time with people and that's it. And with Angelique, we are good friends. She's part of my life, and I think it will never stop. We care about each other. We ask news from each other. I love her daughter. I love her husband. I love her brother. We are very happy to meet again each time it's possible. And that's not something usual, I think. And it shows how much she doesn't pretend to be a star. And I don't pretend to be a director like it's finished, I don't know. And I don't know, we were two human people getting along with each other, and I think we love each other very much. Wow. So I learned that it was possible to have link beyond the camera with the subject of the movie. Maybe it was really strong, this movie. I don't think I learned something about myself, but I was so impressed by someone so important. Yes, she's someone very important for the world, I think, and not only in music. Yeah, she impressed me by yeah, I love her. I definitely love her.
Thank you. And thank you for encouraging people to go to the concert too.
Yeah.
Is her daughter also a performer?
Her daughter is an actress.
Uh-huh.
And they did something. They are doing something together right now. They are writing a kind of musical about Yemanja, the goddess of Benin.
Mhm.
And so Neymar, her daughter, has written the story, and Angelique is singing song, and this is the youth project. I hope they will make it in Broadway. To be so great. I would fly to Broadway to go to see this musical.
Oh, so they hope to make a musical for Broadway?
Yeah, I think so. They're working on that with Neymar, Jean, and Angelique. Yeah, I don't know if it will happen, but I wish very much.
Okay, that's
It'd be amazing to have a musical about African history in Benin. All the story, you know, so important for yeah.
Well, Yemanja is known, I mean, because of Benin, but it's also a very important goddess or Orisha for Cuban, you know, Afro-Cuban,
Haitian people.
religion,
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, it will be great.
Yeah.
It will be really great.
Right. Yes. Well, that's important information that we would not have known if we were not talking to you. So thank you for that. I think we're almost at time to end. Is there something you want to say more about this, or actually what you're doing now? I'm curious what your next project is.
My next project, it's again a movie about a woman, an actress, a British actress. It's a movie about Kate Winslet. Very different. Yeah.
Kate Winslet.
Kate Winslet. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's it. That's my next project. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, very different, but also a strong woman who can speak out for herself, and you know, a strong woman too.
For broadcast or theaters or both?
For podcast. Okay. Yeah.
All right. But yes, you got a lot of thumbs up for that. Thank you.
What I could add is thank you so much for asking me to have this discussion with you. Thank you to the African Diaspora Film Club. Thank you, Elizabeth Gessel. Thank you to you, Cornelius. Thank you to everyone who has watched the movie, and thank you to Angelique to be here in this world.
Thank you, Claire.
Thank you very much.
Thank you both so much for this very rich conversation, and Claire for this wonderful film. I do want to let everyone know that our next African Diaspora Film Club will be discussing the documentary After Sherman on Sunday, August 20th from 5 to 6 p.m. and with director John Cesare Goff. And I put the link to register in the chat. I also would love it if you would all take a few minutes to fill out an online survey about today's program. I also put the link to that in the chat, and it should also pop up on your screen when you leave this Zoom. If you are able to support what MoAD does by becoming a member or making a donation of any amount, you can donate on our website, moadsf.org, or you can text a donation to 56512 and type the word MoAD SF and follow the link to donate. And finally, if you're in the Bay Area or planning to travel here, come see us in San Francisco. We have a beautiful exhibition, Black Venus, curated by Andrea Emalife, on view through August 20th. And you can check out our website, moadsf.org, for all of our public programs, both virtual and on site. So thank you all for joining us today, and we'll see you next time. Thank you very much, Claire.
Thank you.